Good afternoon and welcome to San Angelo Live. It's Wednesday. We are back at the political desk talking to candidates for the runoff election, Republican runoff election, May 24th. And with me today is Precinct 4 County Commission candidate on the Republican ticket, Shawn Nanny. Shawn, thanks for being here.
Thank you all for having me, Yantis.
And this never-ending election cycle, you made it through the primary, which was 1st of March,
Yes,
and now we're sort of halfway between there and the runoff election. There's two of you in the runoff election, and I'm sure you've answered so many questions over and over again. So let's go in a little different direction today.
Okay.
The big thing on everybody's mind, we got a little sprinkle yesterday, but we're in a drought. Tom Green County, West Texas are in a drought. That's going to affect county business as well as individuals. Where do you see us standing now and going into the future?
Well, our area is still very much agriculturally driven. Not just this county, but all of our neighboring counties. That's what this country was built on, and it's still the hub of our economy. And with all the bad things going on in our nation right now, and what I'm going to call runaway inflation, well, we're hit even harder here because our livelihood with growing cotton, cattle, sheep, goats, you name it, we're not getting any rain. And even if it were to start raining a little right now, we've already had a deficit that's not going to be recoverable at this point. And that economy, it's not just affecting the individual rancher or farmer. And I'd like to specify something on that. People think of ranchers and farmers, the big high rollers that have hundreds of acres of cotton or thousands of head of cattle. Well, there are a handful of those, but there are many people in our community that have a handful of goats or a few head of cattle, and they use that money to pay their taxes, help put their grandkids through college or whatever. And those people are all affected, and our community and our businesses are affected also, because if there's no rain, there's no cattle, that rancher's not buying feed, he's not buying tires for his pickup, fuel, you name it, and it trickles down through our community.
There's a significant ripple effect from the producers to the suppliers, and we're facing not only a deficit of water that affects the crops and the livestock, but also we've got you mentioned earlier inflation. And price of gas is up there, between $3 and $4 a gallon. Diesel is I don't know where. That hits us as well, and it also hits the county as far as their, the deputies drive vehicles, and the taxpayer pays for their gas, just like road and bridge.
Yes, and the price of fuel, I mean, it hits each and every one of us driving to work, whatever. But what a lot of people don't think about is it affects the cost of all of our goods, because over 90% of everything we consume was brought here on a truck that's burning fuel. So anything that the county buys, it's going to go up, not only because of inflation, but because of fuel. And where does it end? We've got to find a stop to it and get a hold of it.
Yeah, and we were talking, you're serving on the Cristobal School Board, and you see this as well as I do. The county is about to go through a budget cycle this year, and the school districts will do the same. The city of San Angelo will do the same, and the economic pressures of that inflation, including the price of fuel, is going to hit now, and then a year from now, when there's a new commissioner's court, those department heads are going to come back to the court and say, legitimately, my employees need a raise.
Oh, yes.
And that is going to be a tremendous pressure on the bottom line in a budget where everything is paid for by property tax almost, and most of that money, 99% of it's already earmarked for something.
Yes, and it's very difficult. We always, our fiduciary responsibility, as far as I'm concerned, is to give you the very best for the very least. And when when tough decisions start having to be made, it's not nice. You might want to pay the jailers more, but what services are you willing to cut in order to generate that revenue? I've heard a lot of people say, well, our property values are going up. Hopefully the tax rate will go down or remain constant. And I hear people all the time say, well, y'all say that you're dropping our taxes, but my tax bill gets bigger every year. And I know exactly what they mean. It went up $300 or whatever from the previous year. But that is the smoke and mirrors of rates and values. We'd love to see both go down, but at the end of the day, when the rates are up, that means when the values are up, that means you've made a wise investment. But I guess that's why I'm running. I want to be the guy. I'm one of y'all. I'm no big time politician going to get rich at this gig. I understand all these nuances that everybody faces. And I hear people say we're going to trim some fat from meat, trim the fat, on this steak and get the budget in under control. Well, there's not a whole lot of fat to trim. There's a lot of smart people up there, our county auditor, our treasurer. There's a team of people that, they filter over this stuff daily, and they do a damn fine job. There's got to be some outside funding. Right now, I don't know where it's going to come from, but I promise you I'm going to find a way to help take the burden off of the taxpayer, but still provide the best services, because at the end of the day, you can't squeeze a dry lemon.
That's very true. And it was, I think, 2 weeks ago that the Commissioners Court heard from their outside auditor that gave them a clean bill of health for quite a number of years. So the folks you mentioned, the auditor and all those folks that prepare and work on that, the county budget and the county income and outgo on a daily basis, are doing a really good job and have been for a long time.
Yes, sir. And I wish it was publicized more. Nathan gave a 5-10 minute spiel over his findings on the audit. I don't know how many man hours were spent arriving at that, but there was a ton of work that goes into that, and I almost view that as a thankless job, because that is a workload.
It really is. It really is. And let's kind of move forward to the other issues facing the county. I know that the county does a lot as far as law enforcement, and there's the courthouse remodel and the pressure on the jail. What about the criminal justice system? Where does that stand, and what is your vision heading forward?
Well, as you know, we're going to have a new public defender's office that I believe he told me would be up and going about June 9th, 1st of June somewhere.
Okay.
We're also going to have a magistrate that will expedite some of these trial processes. And
yeah, Judge LaFawn's already on the docket.
He is. And hopefully I don't see why we can't save money with those two positions filled and up and running. So maybe saving a little bit of money on one end will push some money to the other end.
Yeah, that's the name of the game in county government. It's really lean, really streamlined, and the purpose of county government is to provide those core services.
Yes.
The law enforcement, the criminal justice system, and voting. We mentioned earlier there's another election going on right now that is not the runoff election.
Right.
It looks like there's constitutional amendments, a couple of them. That early voting starts next week, but that's not your election.
Correct. Our election is May the 24th. I believe early voting is 16th through the 20th.
Yeah.
And I just want to drive home the fact, people, please go out and vote. In the primary, my precinct had under 20% voter turnout. I think there's 32,000 people in my precinct, and man, we can do better than that. I challenge you to show up and vote. Your voice, your opinion does matter.
That's right. And county government is one of the two primary taxing entities for the folks who live in the Christoval Dove Creek area, but also in San Angelo, you got the city of San Angelo, which is the third taxing entity.
Right.
And you're responsible for a portion of that tax bill. And the county is actually the smallest part of that tax bill.
Yes, yes, it is. And in my school district, I haven't checked lately, but I think Christoval ISD has the cheapest tax rate of any school district in the Concho Valley, and I am proud to have been a part of that.
That is commendable, and school districts wrangle with the same thing. Every time the legislature meets, they change the rules and regulations as to how schools and counties and cities operate, and that's part of the challenge, is keeping up with the changes in state law. At this point, Shawn, we've done this before. I'm going to step away from the mic. I'm sure you have a message for the voters. Take as long as you want. It's no questions, no answers. This is just your message directly to the voters.
Well, first of all, and this is on a personal note, I don't think the spouses of us candidates get enough recognition, because they're going through this process right along with us. They're taking the heat right along with us, and in my case, she is probably my greatest mentor on my speaking, and makes sure I'm dressed half decent most of the time. But today is her birthday, and I would like to wish my wife, Angela, a very happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Moving on, like we've talked about, I'm a small business owner, been self-employed my whole entire adult life. I'm on my third term on the Christoval School Board. I'm currently the president. I have dealt with many of these issues we just talked about: budgets, mandates, unfunded mandates, staffing, pay, budgets, bonds, you name it. But I also believe in term limits. I came to Christoval. We had a very fine school district. I think now, as I'm planning my exit, I'm leaving it in a better place than what I found it. I do believe in those term limits. I believe in a change. Our population is changing. Our infrastructure is changing. The value of our dollar is changing. Our leadership is changing. We're going to have a new county judge, one way or the other. And with the support of the voters, I hope the commissioner of Precinct 4 changes. And I think my fellow residents of Precinct 4 are ready for a change. In the primary, the incumbent had 5 opponents, and I think that speaks volumes. It's now been whittled down to 2, me and the incumbent. And basically, we are 2 applicants for a job, and the voters are deciding which one gets the job. I beg of you to check my references, contact anybody I've ever had any business dealings with, check my record on the school board, talk to anybody up there. I'm an open book. It's time for a change, and I'm the one ready to make that change. But I will tell you, one thing that won't change is my commitment to you, that I will work my tail off to be a better commissioner every day. I don't claim to know it all, but I will find the answers. I will network with the other local and county officials here in our surrounding counties. Sometimes you got to network and find out what works for somebody else. It may not fit your exact template, but you got people learn by trial and error, and I'd rather learn by somebody else's error than our own. But anyway, my name's Shawn Nanny. Call me anytime, 650-9770. I'm here to make a change, but I won't change. Thank you.
All right, Shawn Nanny, thank you so much. I was going to ask you how they can learn more and how they can get hold of you. I guess you're also on Facebook and social media.
Yeah, you can look me up on my personal Facebook page. I've got a Shawn Nanny for Commissioner Precinct 4 Facebook. I got a ShawnNanny.com website, but just call me or text me or I promise you, you know somebody that knows me, flag me down, stop me at the grocery store. I'm available.
All right, great. And the runoff again is May 24th. There are 3 local runoffs, and for County Judge, County Commissioner Precinct 4, and for Justice of the Peace in Precinct 3. So voters countywide will have a say in one of those races. And there are also statewide races, runoffs on May 24th. So the ballot needs your attention, and it's worth every vote and all the effort to get there. There is early voting from May 16th through the 20th, and then, of course, Election Day again, May 24th. And after that, there's not a Democrat or an independent. So the general election in November 1st will be a formality in these races. And the new commissioner, judge, and justice of the peace will be sworn in on January 1st of 2023. And on behalf of Shawn Nanny, thanks again. And San Angelo Live, until next week, I'm Yantis Green.